Okay, Roger, once again, Mudfossil University. We're talking today about blood out of a rock, and they are gushing it. This is blood coming out of a rock down in Cusco, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who sent this to me, but it is, obviously they have a channel coming out of here. They knew long ago that this thing was shooting blood out of here, and it's still doing it. And in the rainy season specifically, the water flow will come up from the ground and force blood through the arterial passageways. It's literally plumbing. Now, that is one example of it, and I'm going to show you what happens in the rocks I take out that are mud fossils. Hold on one second. All right, this is a mud fossil. When you take them out of the ground, this is what they call a bone foramen. This is a bone that has transitioned. They're not white in mud fossils. They turn into what they call source rock. And the hydrocarbons all start to turn into, petroleum. Now, the blood vessels, however, still have blood in them. And they leak out and they dry up into scabs. Now this is one scab, and you see this little white thing around it, that's the fibrin. Now think about this scab. If this bone was on a flat surface and it leaked out, it would make a puddle, all right? Because I'm going to show you some things that are going to make sense, I hope. Hold on a second. All right, once again, that's the bone. And see these little flecks and all that? That's keratins, kerogens. It's all the fibrous stuff that is in your minerals that are in your body, and they all stay visible when it petrifies. It's incredible. But this is the matrix of your body. That's what structurally you're made out of. And now, that's the fibrin, which is the backing that creates the place where the clot sets up. And now this is being moved away from the holes in this bone. And I'll show you that now. All right, what I want you to think about carefully now is, here's the two holes. There's the black one is the vein, and the red one is the artery, and the red one leaks. You see what the red is? The red one is the one that leaked out, and see it's all like leaking away? Well, that's because it's the artery, and they blow right out. Now the black one, you see it's capped off in there. That's what happens to the veins, because they have what they call vein valves. Now I'm going to play this and show you, but this is on the moon, and if you notice, I am going to say that this is what would be a scab running out of an arterial hole, and I will show you why I say that. This one here, which has no valve in it, and that one does. Now let's see what this looks like, see if there's any more to this. I really haven't looked at this, I don't think.
Here, infrared shows the mineral pyroxene in orange, and a splash of plagioclase in blue from Aristarchus crater.
Alright, pyroxene in orange and plagioclase in blue. I know about plagioclase. What did he say? Hold on one second.
Pyroxene in orange.
Pyrocene, hold on. Pyrocene.
But also to the naked eye. Welcome to the Aristarchus Plateau.
This is a plateau.
Here, infrared shows the mineral pyroxene in orange.
Alright, pyroxene in orange and plagioclase in blue. Let's see what those minerals represent. Okay, I'm going to explain this as it goes along. Here we go. This is from NASA Goddard Tour of the Moon in 4K. Very high definition. And what we're going to look at is this plateau, and this thing here looks like it leaks something right out of here. Now watch what I'm going to show you here. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the materials that are in these two things. Very important.
But also to the naked eye. Welcome to the Aristarchus Plateau. Here, infrared shows the mineral pyroxene in orange.
Alright, listen to what he's going to say it again. I'll play it through again. But you see all this orange stuff, which is what I said is the plateau. And you see this running out of here, which is this is pyroxene, they call this. Alright, and I'm going to show you what the chemistry of it is and what I claim it to be. This is a different substance, and that is plagioclase, and I will show you what that appears to be. And notice the structure of that central cylinder, and this one does not have it. This one has a drain coming off of it, and that does not. It's just sort of splashed around its edges. Now let's continue to watch this.
and a splash of plagioclase blue from Aristarchus crater.
That's the plagioclase.
This region can tell us a lot about the rich volcanic history of the moon.
Alright, he's calling it the rich volcanic history. That doesn't say anything about volcano. I'm saying that is literally from life. Alright, you hear me on this? I'm saying it's literally from life. That is the arterial, and when you die, it ends up leaking it out, and it leaked it out into this scab. Remember that was blue. Let's do it again.
To the naked eye.
Alright, you see?
To the Aristarchus.
He's going to say it's a plateau, and the plateau consists of these two structures have created this plateau, which is a scab.
This plateau. Here, infrared shows the mineral pyroxene in orange, and a splash of plagioclase in blue from Aristarchus.
Alright, that's all we need to show here. Now I'll go in and I'll show you the chemistry of it, and I'll make my claims. You see what he said? He showed you blood. He said it was pyroxene. That is literally blood. It's got a XYZ206, and the X, it can be sodium or calcium, magnesium, iron, all the blood metals. These are all the blood metals. These are all the transition metals that are in your blood. That's what blood is, pyroxene. Let's go back and look at it again. Alright, and then they talk about the plagioclase. Well, excuse me, the plagioclase is virtually, blood chemistry too. Sodium, aluminum, silicon, oxygen, calcium. Now, those are the things that are also in your blood, and they also make up the structural components of the valve, the vein valves. So there is some structure within that blue area. And a plagioclase is a stronger, harder substance, and it's more. I find it more used in tendons and so forth. But it could very well. It's also like basically an inert substance, and I'm sure your veins and the vein valves are basically an inert substance. They're not supposed to interact with other things. Any other chemistry stays away from them. That's the way they're designed. So. I believe that we have a match for the chemistry here and the anatomy, and it's seen in other areas as mud fossils with blood vessels and the same architecture here on Earth, which I showed. So I don't know what else to say. And I also have them on Earth in big ones, much bigger than I have showed, and it's probably quite similar to the one that's on the moon, and maybe even bigger. Now you see the plagioclase, you see it there? It's the exact same thing. This is what's on the moon, they say. Well, it's here on Earth, and that's a piece here from here on Earth, but this is from a tendon. And this stuff right here, you see this? This is an amazing piece. This was sent to me by Joe Dorius. I can't remember how to pronounce her last name, but very nice lady sent me this. And this is a tendon with the abrupt transition. You see how that's the minerals of the abrupt transition, and it's right there, seen breaking off right there. Isn't that amazing? She didn't notice she was sending me an abrupt transition, but that's what it is. Alright, so this is a plagioclase. It's on the moon. It's on here on Earth. Everything that's on the moon is here on Earth. The highlands of the moon are also plagioclases, from my understanding. And that is these tendon structures. And they're the highlands of the moon. So, and everything that I've ever seen that NASA shows or any of these space agencies, and I contacted them, and I talked to some people there, and they just, oh, well, we don't know anything about it. Well, I have the same exact identical rocks here. They don't have anything special. The moon is the same as it is here. If they want to come, I could show them there. They refuse. So, I don't know what to say. And the same thing with Comet 67P. It's 100% organic. They know that now. I've been after them for a few years now to look at what I'm proposing. Is that it is a tendon enthesis. The comas that are shooting out of there are literally blood boiling gases, just that would cook right off of your grill, except they're not combusting. There's not enough oxygen out there, so they are called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, which means they have not combusted completely, and they are carcinogenous, really. astronauts say they smell steak on their suits when they come back from spacewalks. The organic molecules coming out of 67P are identical to a creature's bodies boiling. You see this? Comet 67P, organic molecules discovered. Well, not only organic, our analysis reveals carbon in a far more complex form than expected, Herve Cotton, a co-author on a new study, said in a statement. It is so complex we can't give it a proper name. And if you look down here, that is the complex chemistry of life. CHs, CH2s and 3s, and silicon and sodium and iron, and that's what's coming out of that comet. And they know it. They say no. They just don't know what to do about it. Really, it's basically the truth. You see that right there? That's a meteorite. I have it here in the shop, and it's this red blood right in there. As a matter of fact, it's over here somewhere. There it is, right here, and it's this is a meteorite, and it came through space and blistered, but it didn't, completely combust. The red meat side of it, the bloody side, exploded because it boiled out and exploded at extreme heat coming in, and left the bloody remnants here, which could be easily tested for DNA. You could drill inside of here, and I know that there's more of this red oxide in here, and that becomes what they call chelated. It's a CH, chelated, I say, chelated. What happens is molecules wrap around every one of those little blood molecules. They call them metal complexes, transition metal complexes. And that's what carries the things around your blood. And they get wrapped around with what they call ligands. They're little molecules that wrap them up just as tight as plastic bags. And they, until they get either really severely destroyed with different chemistry, or this may be totally destroyed, I don't know. But I think there's blood in here. And I know I see a lot of them with blood, and I can tell you for a fact they have blood in them, because I can see it's almost gushing out. And this side, of course, was the vein side, and that's black. You see, it didn't blow out. The vein and the artery come right in here. The artery came here, the vein comes there, and the veins have valves, and they turn into a different type of iron. That's why in that thing on the moon, you got one color here and one color there. Same thing here. You got the red here, and you got the black over here. That's the way the blood works. And in the body, it's FeO3 and FeO2. And it's red and black, and in your body it's red and blue. In the mud fossils, it's red and black, and on the moon it appears to be whatever those colors are. I don't know. Anyway, you should watch this video, The Case for Reality, Part 1, The Claims. And I say these are all the things I claim, and there's some serious things to be claimed there that are not right now, and you're doing things that aren't right. And then I go ahead and I show all these things. And the first time I do, the rocks were alive, comets are alive, the giants are real, dragons were real, and then I'm going to show all the evidence, present everything to prove what I'm saying. So you should go up to Mudfossil University, Case for Reality, Part 1, The Claims. I think I'm up to Part 5 now, and I don't know, this might be Part 6. I'm losing track. Whatever part it is, it is. Alright, this is basically the same thing. This is the vein, and that's the artery, and this is on Earth. And this is called The Case for Reality, Part 4, Blood on the Land. Now, I'll let this play. I don't have the sound going, but I'm showing what it's going here. Now, I'm going to explain to you what we really need to do is to look at these things with seriousness now. This is not silly. I mean, it seems insane, but you see what's leaked out of here? There's your red blood. And I go in and I show this one here, you can actually almost see the fibrin and everything in there. You can see the red blood is run out and the black blood puddled over on the other side. So I won't be work this forever, but I mean, look at this. That's what came out of the other side. Now, and anyway, it's red and it's black. It's right next to each other, and that's just the way it is now. So go to Mudfossil University and look at all these things up. It's real, and it's being just totally laughed at. All right, if you're really interested in reality, and most people aren't, it's too much for them to get in their head. First of all, too much work. Secondly, but if you are, this is what you should read: is Metamorphosis by Ovid. All right, it's on audio book too and stuff. But this is the creation of the world. Okay, you see here, creation of the world, and it talks about how the world was created. And these guys had, there's Herodotus, Hesiod, and Plato, and all those guys back then. They were writing all these things about true history that had come down and been passed down from the ancient priests and the Egyptian temples and all that business. So this is not silly stuff. And, oh, they didn't write it till the turn of till you came into the 1st century A.D. So this was written, like day one of the new A.D. series. And so how would he know that? Well, they had carried things forward in very, very serious to them, extremely serious, and they were put into these huge, beautiful, illuminated texts, and with great respect, and treated like they were like the most important documents on the face of the planet. And then these guys put them down in what they were, and we are just laughed at it now because we just can't not handle what they knew was true, because it is so over the edge. But Herodotus is the guy. I mean, Ovid here. Ovid is the guy you want to read for the creation of the world. The other guys talked about, well, I mean, Ovid goes all the way up to his own time. He goes all the way to his own time. And Hesiod is also very, very good. Hesiod talks about the gold and the silver age and the bronze age and the age of iron, which is what we're in now, where things are in extreme disaster. Right, this is by www.greekgods.org, and it is they go through all the different ancient histories, absolutely marvelously done. But this in particular points to Hesiod's 5 ages of man, and the different ages, which was symbolized by gold, silver, bronze, and iron, we are in the Iron Age now, and he himself, Hesiod, put himself in the Iron Age. Now, the Golden Age was where everything was perfect, nobody got sick, you had anything you wanted, the animals could talk to humans with human voices, everybody lived in harmony, it was wonderful and magnificent. And then it went all downhill from there into the Silver Age, and they started doing this and that, and then things got inferior, and then they went into the Bronze Age, where they started to get warlike and strong and mean to each other. And then they went into the age of the heroes, where they were running around trying to do this and that and fix things up, I guess. And then you got into the Iron Age. Now, well, let's go back to the age of the heroes. And at the very end it says, it is also said that Zeus eventually promoted his father Cronus from the depths of Tartarus to become a ruler of the souls of their righteous and significant people. Now we get all the way down to the Iron Age, where it is a disaster, which is what we live in now. It is a living hell for so many people. If you could put yourself in their places, I mean, I don't know what to say. How people could live under the conditions that they're forced to live under in such extreme quantities. And nobody seems to, I mean, not nobody seems to care, but there's just, there's not enough care to change it. Let me put it that way. I don't care if you can say, oh, I care. Well, nothing's changing. People in charge don't care, apparently. Something's wrong here. Something's desperately wrong. Now, I don't know how to fix it, but something is desperately wrong. And anyway, it's the Iron Age, and it says here, and this is exactly what it says. It says, and finally Zeus created the last race of man called the Iron Race, where Hesiod put himself. So he was in this particular time frame, and he lived back in the 1st century or so, 400 BC, something like that. It's a time of constant stress and labor. Morality is gone, absolutely gone. Men are constantly opposing each other about anything, it doesn't matter. Lying and seeding mistrust is the way to do things, to try to make everybody fight against each other, it seems. A time where humans grow old quickly and are constantly beset by troubles and pressures. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of them got troubles and a lot of them got pressures. At the peak of this age, people will no longer feel shame or regret wrongdoing. All right? So let that settle in for a second, because that is just exactly today. At the peak of this age, people will no longer feel shame or regret at wrongdoing, and there will be no help against evil. They have these cheat on your wife websites, and do anything you want here, it'll stay here, that type of stuff. I mean, that's all wonderful for you people to have no thoughts about the future, I guess. All right? At the peak of this age, people will no longer feel shame or regret any wrongdoing. There will be no help against evil. Mankind will be forsaken by the gods and goddesses, and Zeus is set to return one day to destroy that race, just like he had done in the past. Now, that's just kind of odd, because it's very, very similar to what it says about Jesus coming back to fix things up. And at one time everything was good, and then he had to come back and fix it. Now, before everybody goes crazy that I'm talking about gods and pagans and this and that, I'm a scientist. I go where the clues lead. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I do know my own personal feelings, and I share them pretty readily. Everybody probably understands how I feel about God and Jesus Christ, and that he is literally the Son of God, exactly what he said, and his body literally did fall out of space to feed the Israelites in the desert. And a woman really literally did give birth on the moon, like it says exactly in Revelation 12. All right, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, upon her head a crown of 12 stars, 12 titans, 12 original tribes, and she being with child, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. She broke her waters on the moon. That's what flooded the earth. That's part of it. It also broke up from underneath, but it came from above too. And it was that same pH, and it flooded the earth with those birth waters. And there appeared another wonder in the heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. I don't know what all that means. But the dragon I do know, and I have found him. He's Morocco. Everybody's seen it, I'm sure. His tail drew the third part of the stars of the heaven, 200 of the 600 watchers, the angels. He took those 200, threw them down to earth with him to do all bad stuff. He cast them to earth with him, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered to eat the child. He was going to eat the child, just the way all the Cronus or wherever was going to eat his children, and Zeus got away. Well, she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Her child was caught up to God and to his throne. So he came, swooped down, took the child away, and Zeus was swooped down and taken away. Now, I'm just drawing, the things that are in, I'm coming back to fix all these bad people. Bad people are going to come. It's so prophetic and so relational that I have nothing else to do but say, look at this. You make your own decision. I have no clue what it means. All right, now, the woman fled in the wilderness and so forth. And then there was a war, and the angels fought against the dragon. Michael fought with his angels against the dragon. The dragon fought with his angels. And they fought like crazy. And finally the dragon was thrown to earth. Now, I found all those things. And in addition to that, in 1500 BC, when the Exodus was happening, the stuff that fell out of the sky was, first of all, before that was a flood, when she broke her waters, and then after a while she gave birth, and then all of that stuff is floating around in space, the umbilical cord, the placenta, and the red blood. That fell on the earth, and the red blood fell as heavy red hydrocarbons and red oxides and so forth. And Velikovsky, it's all recorded in history, not a word of this I am making up. Velikovsky went and did all the research. You could look it up under Worlds in Collision. And that was when Venus came by and literally almost destroyed the Earth. And it appears that Venus was born from Jupiter at that time. So all I'm saying is that had to be this child was born in space. All I can say is what I'm seeing and what I'm relating. It's all very confusing, and I know that I have a lot of things that aren't right, but I think I have a lot of things that need to be examined and see if they are right. So the water fell to flood the earth. The red blood fell all over and so forth, and destroyed things on earth, and all the stones fell on earth from the umbilical cord, and all of these were destructions that allowed the Israelites to escape, really, is what Velikovsky said. It was more of an escape than let my people go, and yeah, go ahead. They got out of there, and he took stuff with them. They took things that they might not have should have taken. But anyway, they left, and in the desert, the manna fell. Well, what is manna? It's dried milk. They said it was coriander-sized milk seeds. When it landed in the water, it turned into milk. When it landed on the ground, it turned into honey. It would turn rancid when it was in the air for a while. So they had to harvest it first thing in the morning. It only fell at night because at night it wouldn't burn up in space. The same way my meteorite didn't burn up in space, because that also fell at night. And if you fall at night, it doesn't go through the ionosphere with the same intensity, because the sun is not filling the ionosphere with ether, which is the particles that are emitted from the sun. They're not waves, they're particles. They fill the ionosphere with very active, aggressive particles. And when something comes through during the daylight, there's so many of these particles out there that it just cooks them. If they come through at night, they blister them. And that's what happened to my meteorite. So these are the stories. This is the case. I think I feel that Jesus Christ, because and then again, he said, that was my body that fell out of space. That's a fact. That's what he said. That was my body that fell out of space to feed your people in the desert. All right, this is what it says. It says, I am the living bread. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. Now, these are kind of hard statements to fully understand, but for him to say, I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and that's what they eat in the desert, and that's what his body would have provided, and all of the things that fell from heaven were from a literal birth in space, which is from Revelations 12. The dragon is in Morocco. All right, here's the dragon in Morocco. Look at this. Everybody's seen this, I'm sure, if you've been around me at all. There's his head. There's that funny little nose that they have. All right, this is his neck that comes down. And that neck runs for a very, very, very long way, and it's all coated with these dragon scales, the entire thing. And on the side of his neck is all this funny little stuff that flashes down his side. And this is the decaying amount of his body, has only decomposed out to here from his neck here, just barely decomposing. He is gigantic. His head is here, his neck is here, his legs are there, his tail comes all the way out to the Mediterranean, and I will show you way down here at the end of his tail that is still his dragon scaled tail, and there it is. And this is what is called transition metal runoff from blood minerals. And this again is the length of the decay of decomposition of his body. And that happens to all decomposing bodies. That is a giant dragon in Morocco that is huge, and it was red at one time. This is all the red stuff coming off of it. I have extremely detailed anatomy going in through his digestive system, all of that stuff. It cannot be denied. It is a dragon, and that dragon is spitting something at a gigantic fish. There's his neck. He's spitting something out, and it hit the fish down here. And here is what he is spitting out. It is extremely noxious looking, whatever it is, and it is not designed for human consumption. Now, that spit out of there from his dragon mouth onto a giant fish's fin, which is this giant fish. Now, this is blowing your mind if your mind is even open enough to even see through your eyes when you see this, but this is factual and true and was written about. These are the scales of the fish. This is the little fishy's body, and there's his tail, and there's his fin that the dragon is biting. By the way, this whole area ran out into the Atlantic when Atlantis collapsed. It all drained out through here into the Atlantic Ocean. And they know about the sediment. And what happened was, in the text, it says they broke down the straits to flood it, apparently, and these are the straits that come into Atlantis that protected it from the Sahara Ocean when it was an ocean back at 11,500 years ago. So all of this stuff needs to be examined. It's all true. It's all factual. It's all ignored. And students and citizens are all being denied this reality. So I'm just trying to point it out. Okay, so this is the NASA site. They got 1,200,000 hits. I posted up here that they need to go take a look at Comet 67P because it is meat in space. So let's see what they will do about that, which will be nothing. Okay, that's about all I have to say. Go to Mudfossil University and stay with a case for reality and see if you can figure out what is real and what isn't. Because I'm just presenting things. Some of it might be real, some of it might not be. You make your own decision. Okay, this is a special thanks to Irwell Peak, my buddy, who is, he gives me a lot of things to challenge my mind. And this is Mudfossil University here up on Facebook, and of course Mudfossil University on YouTube supports it, or they support each other. And then there's a couple other channels up here, Mudfossil channels that I have, Mudfossil Revelations, which teaches you what the deep meaning of these things is. And, well, I don't teach you anything, I just show you what I think is the deep meaning to me. You make your own mind up. Science mysteries at Mudfossil University. That's all about the physical sciences, which are totally misunderstood as well. If any one of you physicists out there wants to explain to me your theories about space and cosmology and planetary formation after seeing that Comet 67P is a giant tendon, and it's meat cooking in space, well then I'm glad to hear your theories about interplanetary space travel, wormholes, and they could be wormholes inside of a tendon or something like that, maybe. Who knows? But I don't think they developed the way you people have been talking about. And I have all that stuff documented, and they show light can be accelerated. It's just nonsense what we've been taught. It's just to get down to the bottom line. It's total crap. Absolute crap they've been feeding you. 100%. Come up to Mudfossil. What am I going to say? It's true. That's the facts. That is the facts. And you don't understand those facts because you are brainwashed and controlled by people that have control over you. They force you to say these things. Literally force you. If you don't, you ruin your life. I'm doing a video on cults too, because literally academia is the biggest, most sophisticated cult. And now they're even making the kids go out and do little parties about how if they're accepted to into the cult. And then they can show them on TV, and so forth, so they can show how good the cult is and how everybody's so happy, and they jump up and down and scream. It looks like a real good party. But it's total control. And anyway, that's my feeling. I think everybody understands that. We're going to change the way everybody sees the world. And you have to see the world through Mudfossil eyes. I have Mudfossil eyes. Okay, maybe that'd be a good song. I got to get my buddy Pete Lund up in Maine to write a song, Mudfossil Eyes, Pete. Okay, and Pete over there in England, thank you, my brother. And everybody out there that has contributed that I have not mentioned, thank you all. God loves you for doing what you are doing. All right, let's change the way this is seen and let God be seen. All right, I love you all, my friends.